Hello and welcome to another video from Education Hub. Today we are going to be looking at the IELTS essay and understanding the question. And again, we will be talking about tips and techniques for understanding the question. Okay, let's get started. Once you're acquainted with the IELTS exam, once you've studied a little bit about the test, you've read some different books, you will soon find that there are very definite IELTS topics. For example, the environment, technology, employment, transportation, education, society and culture, the media, health, family, communication, travel, and globalization, just to mention a few of the more common ones. The reason for this is that IELTS is a very international exam and the topics have to be suitable for a variety of countries and cultures. As a result, the test writers at IELTS generally choose everyday topics that most people are able to speak and write about in their first language. Today, though, we're going to be talking about knowing the question and the importance of knowing the question. Even though the topics generally come from the common themes mentioned previously, the actual questions are more precise and specific. The reason for this is that the examiners do not want you to memorize an essay, which is very, very common. They want to test your English and see if you can answer a specific and focused question rather than providing a general answer to a general topic. Understanding the question. Here are some tips which I have found very useful for my students, and I think that if more candidates had done this, they would not fall into the trap of misunderstanding the question and thus writing an essay which is tangential, which means it doesn't relate directly to the question. Tip 1. Circle or underline the topic in the question. Tip 2. Write a question or some questions to help you confirm your understanding of the question. Let's have a look at some examples. Example 1. Here is the IELTS question. Describe some of the problems that overpopulation causes and suggest some solutions. Okay, this is a very short question, very straightforward question. We've identified the topic as overpopulation, and as you can see, it is underlined. The questions that we've written down to help us understand the question or to confirm our understanding of the question are: what are the problems that overpopulation causes? What are some possible solutions? Now, by writing these two questions, we can see the organization of our essay starting to take form. We can see that the first body paragraph is going to be talking about the problems that are caused by overpopulation. The second body paragraph will offer solutions to the problems that are mentioned in the first body paragraph. So, just to sum up, to use questions, it will help us clarify what we understand the question to mean. Rather than just talking about the problems of overpopulation, it's very important that we also consider the solutions. Let's look at another example. Example 2. To what extent is recycling domestic waste beneficial? Discuss ways in which a householder can help to conserve valuable resources. Now, as we can see, the topic in the question is recycling domestic waste. It is underlined. Now, the two questions that we've used to help us understand the question are: is recycling domestic waste beneficial? Now, this is basically just lifted from the question itself, but this is part of the question that we must answer. The second question helps us understand the second part. How can a householder help to conserve valuable resources? Now, by writing these two questions down, we become acutely aware that we must answer both of these questions. A lot of candidates fall into the habit of answering one question and think once they've reached 250, 270 words that they have fulfilled the requirements of the task. This is not the case. If you have not answered all parts of the question, then you were going to get a very low grade for task response. Let's look at another example. The third example. The government should spend more on public transport and discourage private car ownership to reduce air pollution in major cities. Do you agree or disagree? Again, a very common question type. As you can see here, there are two topics, and both of them are underlined. Of course, they relate to each other: public transport and private car ownership. Now, here's the question that we've used to help us understand it. Should the government spend more on public transport and discourage private car ownership in an effort to reduce pollution in major cities? Okay, and just as the first question is asked, we must give our opinion. And by reformulating the question like we have, it's forcing us to give our opinion. Okay, let's look at one more example. Smoking should be allowed in public places. Smokers have rights too. How far do you agree with this statement? Okay, we've underlined the topic. Now again, some people might fall into the trap of only underlining the word smoking, but the topic itself is not just smoking. It's more specific than that. It's smoking in public places. So the questions that we formulated to help us understand this are: should smoking in public places be allowed? What rights do smokers have? Again, this question has two parts to it, and these questions will help us focus on the two parts of the question. Let's go over some final thoughts. Number one, misunderstanding the question can cost you dearly with task response. If you have not answered one part of the question, the highest band score that you can get for task response is a 5. Now, a lot of students that I've had in the past are writing at band 7. Their lexical resource, their grammatical range and accuracy, their coherence and cohesion are consistently at band 7. However, if they do not answer all parts of the question, they are going to score band 5 for task response. So by following the tips that I've just mentioned in this video, hopefully you can avoid missing out answering one part of the question. Number 2, by doing this, by underlining the key word, the topic, and writing down these questions, you can help clarify your thoughts. Number 3, it will help you with clear organization and progression. Again, if you're looking for band 6 up to band 9, it's very important that your paragraphs are clearly organized, your essay is clearly organized, and there is progression of ideas. By understanding what the question means, it'll help you focus on what you're doing. Finally, by being very clear about the question and what the question is asking, you can spend more time concentrating on your lexis, on your vocabulary, and your lexical resource, and your grammar. Thank you very much. That is the end of another video from Education Hub. I hope it was helpful. Thank you very much.